This morning, a former military employee at Fort Bragg now accused of leaking classified information about a covert military force to a reporter.
The FBI says Courtney Williams from Wagram, North Carolina, about an hour northeast of Whiteville, was previously employed with the U.S. Army Special Operations Command. And court documents show Williams signed a non-disclosure agreement when hired in 2010 and left the job in 2016. However, investigators say she went on to speak in depth with an unnamed journalist. A large portion of communication was between 2022 and 2024. Although unnamed in court records, the article in Politico was written by Seth Harp, with Williams as an on-the-record source.
It was titled, "My Life Became a Living Hell, One Woman's Career in Delta Force, the Army's Most Elite Unit." Investigators say the article contained classified information about techniques used to execute sensitive missions. It was later adapted as a book, which detailed several sexual harassment and discrimination claims that Williams made about her experience. Seth Harp sent out a statement to our media partner WRAL in Raleigh saying Courtney is a brave whistleblower, writing in part former Delta Force operators disclose national defense information on podcasts and YouTube shows every single day. But the government is going after Courtney for the sole reason that she exposed sexual harassment and gender discrimination in the unit.
But the FBI has a different response to the situation. Part of the FBI statement reads in part, Courtney Williams swore an oath to safeguard our nation's secrets as an employee, supporting a special military unit of the Army. But she allegedly betrayed that oath by sharing classified information with a media outlet and putting our nation, our war fighters, and our allies at risk.
The FBI says this indictment should serve as a stark warning to all current and former clearance holders. Williams now facing federal charges for communicating and transmitting national classified defense information.